Do I remember correctly from another meeting that once one of your vehicles come out from the squad area, you're gonna go down Ingalls and then turn on, what is that, Chestnut? I think?
Well, Chestnut to Oak Hill, yeah.
Okay. And
That
not
will be
narrow
our,
part.
I'm sorry?
And not that narrow part.
No, ma'am. The only time we would use the 13 to 1400 block of Ingalls Street would be when we had a call to the Fairview area, which would be like the Woodlands and Woodlawn and that area. If we have anywhere else, we would use, we would use, come down Ingalls, turn left on the Chestnut, turn right on the Oak Hill, go down Oak Hill to the main drag, go whichever way we need to go, or we go Jefferson, Ingalls back out to Jefferson.
So if you're on Forester pulling either left or right on Ingalls, can you see the facility when you stop there at the stop sign at Forester?
Which end of Forester?
Oh, I'm sorry, the far end where your driveway is going to be.
Oh yeah, I mean it would be almost right across the street.
Okay.
The other Forester Road entrance,
It's down in
you wouldn't see anything from it because it's in that ditch. It's on the other side of the pump, so you wouldn't see anything from there.
Okay, so this one you would see your facility in the parking lot. And
Oh yes, I mean it would almost be right across the street.
With the site distances in mind, I was curious myself as to, what our different speeds are as far as stopping distance goes, which, I just use this as a basic look at. Of course, weather's going to have effect on it, as does many other circumstances. But looking at the speed that people should be going there, your 25 miles per hour, you're looking at about 155 feet to come to a complete stop. And that should take into effect, seeing your object, put your foot on the brake and stopping from there. So, inclement weather, it's going to be longer, but our drivers are also trained in inclement weather to drive very effectively. So, anything that would happen if you would have longer stopping distance, our people are automatically trained to start thinking our other drivers are going to have those longer stopping distance times. The next map is a view of downtown, and what I went with here was the road widths. So I know there's a whole lot of different numbers going on, but I'll just start where I started at, and we can kind of go from there. But at the bottom third of the map, there's a number 1, which is right up front of Garland's Fancy Feet, right there at the intersection of Main and Commercial. And what I went with, we measured the road without parking, which doesn't include any cars on the side of it, so you're looking basically sidewalk to sidewalk, edge of road to edge of road. You're looking at 33 feet there without parking. But if you have cars on both sides, the road itself is 18 feet wide. So as busy as what downtown is getting, most of the time when we come down through, you're going to be looking at cars on both sides because that's some good parking right there in downtown. So that's sort of what we're dealing with on that turn. You come up and there is a 2 and a 3. That is out front of the Intellos building, or Lumos building now. And you're looking at 34 feet and 33 feet there with no parking. And you're looking at 18 feet and 16 feet with parking. So all of our calls on the east end of the county, when we come down and take a left on Church Street. So it's guaranteed unless the call is up Commercial Street or over on, say, McCormick Boulevard side of town, we're coming down and going through that every time. So I came back up the street a little bit more. There's a really narrow spot on Commercial leading up to our building, and I wanted to see where it was. And it's actually 25 feet with no parking, and there's only parking on one side of it, so it's 17 feet with parking. And by that point, I was very curious, so I come out in front of our bays where the building is now. That's where number 5 is. And you have 26 feet with no parking, and you have 18 feet with parking. And keep in mind there, that's where we pull up and actually have to back into the bays. So that to me was very impressive that you only have 18 feet to deal with, and we're actually turning the trucks in the middle of the road and backing into the bays where we are now, with Commercial Street as busy as what it is.
And you have a 35-foot truck.
Where you are now, so that you could pull through.
No, we have another building behind it.
So
It was never open.
The next one, we went up to the Ingalls Street property, did a little bit of measuring. Number one is at the upper end of that gravel driveway, so it's the opposite end of the Forester side, where Forester comes down. You're looking at 21.5 feet there. Number two, I took at the top of the hill, where you'll be cresting over in front of Mr. Chenault's driveway. You're looking at 21.5 feet there. I came down and took one right at the corner of Forester. Figured that would be a good one to have since you would have traffic coming in to where we would be pulling out at. And you're looking at about 22.5 feet there. I came down to number four, which is where our lower sight distance is. That's where you're going to be cresting over the hill and approaching the turn. And that one was 24 feet. And I labeled the map wrong. The 5 and 6 should be where we will be turning down to go to the Kroger exit. So basically that would be our travel way out. I just caught the wrong intersection. But number 5 is the bottom portion of it. You're looking at 22 feet. And then number 6, which is approaching into the turn, you're looking at 20.5 feet. And when I measured these, I didn't want to, bounce the numbers up, inflate anything. We went to the narrowest point that we could find. So we wanted the numbers to actually be, that's the narrowest point that we would be dealing with all the way down the road. And at number 7, I went ahead and measured 2 or 3 different places. I know I had heard this turn come up a good bit when you turn off of Ingalls Street. You're looking at 31 feet when you're approaching the intersection, and you're looking at 26 feet when you come out of the intersection. Plus, you have all of the middle of this intersection to play with, when the ambulances are coming down and making their turns. You're not going to come speeding down through Ingalls and cut the inside of this turn when you're coming down with an ambulance. There's going to be plenty of room to come through, make your turn, and then proceed out Route 662.
So the question I have now, you have number 6 and 5. That's at Hickory Street. That's clear up there.
Yeah,
That was my mistake.
He marked the wrong intersection.
Oh,
5 and 6 is supposed to be Oak Hill.
Okay.
Actually, we were out in the rain when I was measuring, so I just caught the wrong intersection, trying not to get wet.
You have the word Oak Hill Bible Church, that's not where the church is.
Yeah, Google Maps has that one wrong. I guess I don't know what.
Oak Hill Bible Church is on that past.
Yes, down past Easy Pass.
Yeah.
That's,
So commercial actually runs 16 to 18 feet all up and down at With Park,
right.
which is most time it is on lot.
There's a lot of parking on commercial.
And then on Ingalls, it goes anywhere from 20 to 26?
Correct.
With no park.
With no parking.
No park.
Which helps your line of sight.
Do it.
Helps your line of sight
Oh,
a lot.
Yeah.
Not having those cars.
I mean, when you're coming out of the new property, you're at, what do we say, 400 and some odd sight distance all the way down to the bottom of the hill. So, I mean, that's,
Yeah, I noticed about your chart with the stopping distance and the speed. If you turn left, you'd have to be going 35 miles an hour to stop at 250 feet. You have 246 on that site, and then you'd have to be almost 60 miles an hour turning right.
Right. right.
I don't think you could be doing
And
60 miles
the
an hour.
only other thing is, I know I'd heard some people addressing sirens and things like that. With that, we have no need to blow the sirens when we come out of the building and go down Ingalls Street. We don't even do that now. We'll come out. Yeah. And I'll explain our responses too. When we receive a call, get in the trucks, pull out of the building, we take, like we're coming into town, we'll take a left, come down to Commercial Street, Commercial and Church. That's when we hit the sirens. At all intersections, of course, you have to hit the sirens. And any main road where there's a lot of traffic, we would hit the sirens and things. So if we're coming out of Ingalls Street, coming down, you might catch one at the intersection of Chestnut and Ingalls. Slim chance. Turn on the Chestnut, you wouldn't have that problem until you got all the way down to the Kroger intersection before we would have to have an audible sound to let anybody know we're coming. As far as response, the only time we'll run our lights is when we're responding to the call. When we come out of the building, responding to the call, or if it's a a critical emergency that has to go to the hospital in a timely fashion. Just the everyday stomach pain or stubbed toe doesn't go, emergency response to the hospital anymore. So we don't have to worry about that. So there's not, just because you hear a siren going off doesn't mean that it's, us blowing our sirens all hours of the day and night. I mean, you've got the fire departments with mutual aid agreements now. You've got multiple fire departments that are coming into the town, multiple law enforcement agencies that are coming into the town, 2 private sector rescue squads that are coming into the town or using the town as a bypass to get from one point to the other. So, the days of screaming, running lights and sirens are over. Those are about the only time. I mean, the Botetourt does the same thing. They have certain response times and responses that they have to go to places too. So,
I think my concern was, and still is, and I wish the town would consider, is some sidewalk capability somewhere through there.
Yeah, I mean,
there's nowhere for pedestrians to go.
Right.
And I did encounter a family of 4 with a stroller the other day on the road.
Yeah.
And so unless they step off of the pavement and go into someone's property, there's nowhere for them to go.
I mean, I'm even for, I mean, if it has to come out of our pocket, it'll come out of our pocket of putting signage up to warn people that, there's an EMS agency above. And I think it's a good idea. I think it needs to even be done for the fire department. There's no signage on Church Street for the fire department. So nobody knows unless they know that fire department's there, that they're, whatever time they're going to be coming out day or night. And I think the same thing applies to us. We're running 3 or 4 times more than what the fire department is. So I know Mr. Olgen had talked about some lights or something like that, to where if we have a call, there's some kind of light that comes on and flashes that when we have a call. If that's even possible, I would be willing to do that as well. I don't know if it is or not. So
Sounds like a good idea.
yeah.
No, because I think streetscape is important, and that pedestrian traffic.
Correct.
Some kind of way that we can, that was my main concern, and, some way
Well,
to alert them.
Yeah, that pedestrian traffic, the problem, just you and I driving our own vehicle.
Mhm. Oh, yes, because
Do you have a complete estimate of what it is going to cost the rescue squad at this particular site? I'm talking environmental studies.
Ballpark, I mean, without sitting down and coming, all the way down to the T, you're looking somewhere between 5 and 700,000. If we were to stay where we're at and remodel what we have, it would almost cost us $1 million. So, I mean,
And that
why would it not?
includes the old radio station, and what would be involved in tearing that down?
Yes, because hopefully what we put into purchasing the property for the radio station and the demolition, we can recoup by selling our property on Commercial Street. And that's the plan. I had already had an investor call and say, when the time comes and you're ready to sell your building, I want it.
Well,
So,
here's my next
I mean,
question.
that's a recoup expense for us.
Here's my question, maybe for council, is if the rescue squad moves, would their property be zoned what it is now? Would it stay?
You'd have to change the zoning. wouldn't you? What is the zone now? It's
I'd have to double check the map, but I would assume it's
business.
What?
business.
Our building is business general.
Would it stay business general since it's in a residential area?
You could easily.
We'd have, to change the zoning, it would have to be a vote by the council to agree to.
My other question is, have you looked, there were several other sites suggested.
Yes.
Have you looked into any other sites?
Yes. The ones that were in town, because I want to stay in town. My main goal is to stay in town. If that doesn't happen, we'll look elsewhere. But the ones that were in town were the Old Wood Chevrolet building, which is still a business. They're still open Mondays and Fridays for recycling. So I can't go there. And it would be astronomical for the prices to get into there with hazmat and everything else. The other ones were the buildings right across the street, You can't tear them down because it's an historical site, so they can't be demolished. And there again, it would cost normal like to remodel them.
I'm not sure that's, I'm not sure. Is that correct?
That
historical.
that is what I've heard for
They're not
years,
historical.
that
Well,
They're
that-
not-
the historical district cannot be torn down.
For
Not that the
Citizens-
building itself
for
is historical.
Citizens Bank was torn down and rebuilt.
The historic commercial district, actually, when it was developed back in the 90s, carved out and left out of the district the property that was the Simmons property that more recently Janie Harris owns. If that's the property you're speaking of directly across
Yeah,
the
the ones
street.
here across from, the
Right.
strip across from A&C.
Right, in order to have a building demolished in a historic commercial district, there has to be a special action by the ARB and the council to determine that that is in the best interest of the town. It's not as though you can go and just tear it down, the way you could a residential piece of property or another commercial piece of property. It could be done, but it entails some very specific hearings. Actually, I don't think that the garage is historic. It would normally be in the district, but I don't think it meets the age criteria. But then I guess the issue is also the size of the
Right,
parcel.
well, then, I mean, yeah, then again, you get the size of the building, how much it's gonna cost to remodel, you know, things like that. You're gonna have the problems again with traffic, because we'll be, you know, turning on to blocking all Main Street to back into the building. I mean, there's a lot of things. I can't afford 12 bays, you know, because you've got, well, that's what I was getting to. I can't afford 12 bays. I mean, 6 bays is gonna cost me $180,000. I mean, I'm not gonna put another 6 bays on the back to make them drive through to where we can go in the alley, and probably the alley's probably not even wide enough to get into it to turn into our building in the first place. Not to mention paying $500,000 for 12 bays.
It's not big enough for 2 cars to go by.
Right.
In that alley, many.
The other property, I know some question was the little lot beside the fire department. I mean, that's way too small. The lot that the town owns at 4th Street, which is too small, I think. Mr. Brinkley had actually said that itself, and then the Hickory Street site. So, and then, like I said, I had made a proposition to the town several years ago about getting some acreage on the Hickory Street site, that if the town would be interested in selling or donating or something 3 acres of the Hickory Street site, I would sign our building over to the town for whatever the case. I mean, Public Works, you know, Police Department, you know, whatever they wanted to do.
Well,
And that
probably
was-
that Hickory Street site out there,
Yes.
and that's where we've been in the middle of this little circle about being wetlands and all that, which is pretty well proven now that it's not a wetland site because of the 13 parameters on the 3 showed up there. I don't know how the rest of the council feels, but I think that would be I'm not in 3 acres of it. I don't think I'll need 3 acres.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how big the building would need to sit on, you know, 2 acres or whatever that case may be.
How big is this? How much? Proposed facility we saw.
3.34 acres or something like that, 3.3 or 3.4 acres. Yeah, I think it was like 3.346 acres or something. It's fairly close to 3.5 acres.
Okay, there were 3 other sites mentioned and suggested. C Street for the funeral home and the
Used to be Serenity Funeral Home.
yes, and the lot between it
Right.
and Dallas. That whole block was mentioned. The property at the Selma, which we put it out of town.
And I have actually looked at that. I've been in contact with the president at Dabney to look at that. He's doing some digging. They can't sell it because it's a state, you know, government property, but we are in the process of talking to them about doing something out there if this doesn't pan out. So
Do they own that property behind
Yes.
the Selma Fire Department?
no, not up there.
That's where I'm talking.
That's too small. That's less than an acre, and then the rest of it is CNO property, the CSX property.
And the property you're talking about is.
The property I'm talking about is when you're coming out of the town,
First
going
wide-
west, it's the first little wide spot where you usually see like the police and everything sit, and it's got a fence around it and things like that. That is Dabney's property. That's, 20 some odd acres that they are actually looking at leasing to get some things into there. It's not, not just for us. I know there's some other entities that have talked to them about maybe leasing that property.
When he was talking about that, he also mentioned that you could kind of join forces and they could benefit from your program, that it might steer people your way.
The college?
Mhm.
Yes, they have
Sounds like
they have the EMS program down there that's going pretty strong. I've tried, we haven't gotten any success out of it yet, but I've tried to partner with them about some recruitment and retention to try to get some members to come out of there. But most of the ones that have been involved in the EMS curriculum down there are already affiliated with an agency, so we haven't gotten any draw out of that just yet.
And that property, you'll never, it belongs to Dabney, which belongs to the state.
Right.
You'll never own it.
No.
It'd just be like a lease.
What I would do would be some type of lifetime lease to where, basically we have squatters' rights to that property, and, a new president can't come in and kick us out. That is a excellent site for us if something were to happen. I have 13 to 15 members that live on the west end of the town or in Selma, that our response times would be just like that. I myself, I live in Selma. It takes me 8 minutes to get from my house in Selma to the rescue squad building. And then another 4 or 5 minutes lengthwise to get to wherever we need to go. So that is a 12 to 13 minute response time, to where if it's out there on the Dabney Drive property, it'll take me 3 minutes to get to the building. So our response times would actually be better if we were to go out there. But I don't want to leave the town. We've been here 45 years, or we've been here since 1945. I'm not about taking us out of town, but I'll do what I have to do in order to get a site capable for us to get.
Is that land down hill?
I don't know.
No, it's.
No, a lot of it
slopes.
Sloped a little
Well,
bit.
some of it's sloped, but a lot of it that you
Next to
can,
the river, right?
the part that is uncut, that you can actually see, is level. Now, it goes down and it cuts down to the river and whatnot. I don't know exactly how much is even over there, but it's well over, probably 10 or 12
That's the
acres.
part where they were thinking of putting the elementary school,
No, now that I don't know. I know they were using it,
right?
the forestry,
At one time.
the forestry department has used that for years for their things.
It's not in the floodplain.
No.
And the other property I was talking about is behind Family Dollar.
And Jerry and I have had some lengthy discussions on that, and we're not going to be interested in it for now. We've got, a lot of the members don't want to go out there because it's a landfill. It's only an acre and a half, and the money.